Even though the Russian economy has been hit hard by sanctions, oil exports to Europe and countries like India and Turkey have gone up since Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine almost 2 months ago. So far, Russia's financial sector has avoided a serious liquidity crisis. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and how the rest of the world is reacting to it. Experts say that sanctions might work in the long run, but for now, many of the same countries that are putting sanctions on Russia are still buying a lot of energy from it, in some cases, even more in April than in March. Putin still makes at least $1 billion a day selling oil and gas, and most of that money comes from Europe, said Edward Fishman, who used to work for the State Department as an expert on Europe. Each European country sends military aid to Ukraine, but it's a small amount compared to what they pay Russia for oil and gas. Even though the West has put restrictions on Russia's financial sector, oil exports have gone up from 3.3 million barrels a day in March to 3.6 million barrels a day in April, according to Matt Smith of Capella, a company that keeps track of oil cargo ships. The most important thing to know is that Russia is exporting more crude oil this month than it did last month, Smith said. That's strange. Or, as experts from the Institute of International Finance put it in a report this week, Russia's oil shipments in April are going at a record pace, so far. Even if you take into account how much cheaper Russian crude is compared to global benchmarks, this means that oil export revenues are likely to be much higher than the same month in the past. Russia's current account surplus is now at a new high because of these incomes. It was $60 billion for the first 3 months of the year, but it will be $120 billion for the whole year in 2021. This gives the Kremlin more money to counteract the sanctions, even though Russia can't buy as many supplies and parts from other countries because of the bans. Russia is the third largest crude oil producer in the world, after the US and Saudi Arabia.